Tragically, nearly 35% of Texans experience domestic violence from an intimate partner. Now more than ever, they need our support. Safe Haven provides freedom from domestic violence in the Fort Worth area. Thomas J. Henry is proud to team with Safe Haven to help end domestic violence through safety, support, prevention, and social change. Please join us to create a legacy of resilience and hope.
Pickle, let's go to the hotline. Today is Tuesday.
Tuesdays.
And as a result, we'd like to go to the phone and call our friend Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. You can hear him on the Horn in Austin every weekday, along with Jeff Howe on Light the Tower. And you can see him on High School Scoreboard Live Saturday night, 11 o'clock, with myself and Aaron Hardigan on Bally Sports Southwest. Craig, how does today find you?
Well, today is supposedly Giving Tuesday, so I'm happy to give to you all that I can and all that I am for this fair segment you have lined up.
Wow. Thank you, Craig. Thank you for your ongoing courage in dealing with us. Okay. We're through to the regional final round of the Texas High School football playoffs. But I look back, and you asked me a similar question on your show earlier today. But looking back at the regional semifinals, I would say that in a lot of ways that felt like a precursor to this week, in the sense that, for the most part, a couple of shockers aside, it was more or less what we expected from the regional semifinals, kind of leading up to what feels like a real culmination this week. Is that it? Do you share that read of what we've seen the last week and now heading into this week?
I do, and the other thing that comes to mind about this is that the teams that pulled off shockers have done enough to make you take note of them. By the same token, I don't know that they did enough to make you say they're going to do it again. Now, it could. It definitely could happen. But I think the ones who are favored, the ones that the computer favors a little bit, are probably well positioned. And I think it's also because we've become accustomed to seeing the teams that look the part advance to this level. We've become accustomed to seeing Denton Guyer, South Lake Carroll, Katy, Westlake, North Shore. Those are just a few of those. We've become accustomed to seeing Longview advance, Carthage, obviously. So we're expecting those teams to advance, but the beauty of this 6-week run to crowning state championship, or as we're calling it on our telecast on Bally Sports Southwest, the road to the championship, it's got some bumps in it, and there have been some surprises, so wouldn't be shocked if anything happened this week now that we're 4 rounds deep in. But although it does kind of remind me a little bit of what we always heard about how CBS liked with the NCAA basketball tournament. They loved having those upsets and the Cinderellas in the first 2 rounds, and then they both expected and hoped to see the Blue Bloods advance. I think we might expect, I don't think we hope for any one specific team to go past another unless you graduated from Llano High School. So, with that in mind, I think we're looking for the best games we can see.
I think we've got quite a handful of them coming up here in the regional finals. I do want to go back to one game that you and I became intimately familiar with on Friday night, and that was Carthage's 28-7 win over Gilmer. You and I were on the call on Bally Sports Southwest. Carthage took a 14-0 lead into halftime. Gilmer clawed within 14-7 before Carthage pulled it away and won 28-7. When you take a look back at that game and what that says, what we saw from Carthage specifically, I'll just ask you straight out: did that look like the best team in 4A Division II to you?
It did, yeah. And they were methodical and kind of, cold and heartless the way that they go about dispatching their opponents. And I'll give Gilmer a great deal of credit. You can tell that it's an extremely talented and well-coached team. You could also probably surmise that if Caden Tennyson had been healthy, I think it definitely would have been closer, but I think Carthage probably would have emerged. We'll never know. It was a 14-7 ball game early fourth quarter, remember, and Gilmer had the ball and then had the turnover right back, and then that was it where where I think the Bulldogs just kind of put their foot on the throat at that point. But they beat the number 2 team in the state, and they did it by 21 points. So it does look like them and the rest of the group. But again, there's still 3 weeks to go. We'll see. And I think they could get a test from Pleasant Grove this week, if only in that Josh Gibson's ball club. It's the devil you know. They know each other really, really well. And now that's both a blessing and a curse, but at least you know what you have to deal with.
Talking with Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. All right, Craig, there are 12 rematches in the regional final round this week. 12 games that we've already seen once. I'm going to run down 3 games that were decided by 1 score or fewer, and I want to hear which one you think has the best chance of having the reverse winner. Okay? Does that make sense? I think I explained. Okay. Is it North Shore and Atascocita, which was a 16-13 North Shore win back in Week 10? Is it Vandegrift and Dripping Springs, which way back in Week 1, Drip beat Vandy 23-20? Or is it Wimberley and Lago Vista, where Wimberley got a 31-28 win over the Vikings in Week 10? Which of those 3 do you think we could see the other team return the favor when it counts the most?
You cruel, heartless bastard.
I know.
I mean, that's just how you are, I'm just, you try to do this to me every week. Well, at last you succeeded. No, I think that they're all great matchups. All are certainly capable of flipping the other way. If it were me probably backed into a corner, it might be the 6A game, the one that we're going to call Friday night on Valley Sports Southwest between North Shore and Atascocita, if only because banged up players. You get to this point late in the season, and North Shore is definitely without Caleb Bailey. He's not there and done for the year. Not only that, David Amador is nursing a sore shoulder, but he could play at quarterback or could be at receiver. Doesn't matter with him really, because he's the Swiss Army knife and can go anywhere on the field that you need him. But also, and this was a question that I asked John Kay this morning, when you have a rematch like this, is there any advantage? Do you gain? He goes, I don't know that there's advantage. He said, I've never liked them because you not only, if you won the first one, the old thing about beating a good team twice, and Atascocita is a very good team. So A, there's that. But B, he said, you're always kind of caught in this sliding scale of this much worked really well the first time. Do we stay the course with that, or do we change up things? Those are the kinds of things that they have to consider. Then I think the same thing holds true for Craig Stump's ball club as well. These things work, we stay with this, or this didn't work, we need to change this. So I think for all of that, I think it's going to be a great matchup. Could go the other way. But Wimberley Lago was, like you said, it was a 1-score ball game, and Lago to be in their first season in 4A, in 4AD2, has really accorded themselves well. I just think Wimberley is playing extremely at a high level. That Code Red defense has just been shutting down opponent after opponent. So I think that's probably one that really I think it may well. And then with Drip and Vandy, like you said, it's August 27th, way back when they played. Could it be different? Yeah. Vandegrift's defense has played much better than after that first week. And so is not only the quarterback play with Braden Buchanan, we knew he would be good, but they're finding other targets as well. I think that game has a chance to be, to use your term, a little more pointsy than the first one, the 23-20 ball game. It could be a 31-28, 34-31 kind of football game and could go either way. So they're really, really good, and all 3 could fall into that category.
When you take a look over at the teams that are left, there are 88 UIL Texas high school football teams that are still playing. Who's the Cinderella? Who's the team that, whether it be just getting hot in the playoffs or even from your own preseason expectations or things like that, right now, of those 88 teams that are left, who's the team that you would identify as maybe the biggest surprise, the biggest Cinderella left?
Well, I've been saying Anna all season long,
Yeah.
but they're
They just keep
kind of
winning.
just it's kind of like they've outgrown the glass slipper and just put on big old combat. They've gone through people. They've been incredibly impressive. Now, beating a team like China Spring, they go right back to the Cinderella status that they pull this off.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that. And you pointed out Wichita Falls, which I think is a great example there in Old High's case of being able to turn it on, and that's a rematch with Decatur. Like you said, was a good ball game the first time around. And then I think you also pointed out Harmony from over there in East Texas, over by Gilmer, taking on Newton, a team that was 5-5 in the regular season. I think all of those kind of fall into that category. I think Harker Heights is a little bit in that category as well. And they're just so big and strong and physical that they've been able to kind of push the other teams back a little bit. That's going to be quite the push for them this week, taking on DeSoto.
Finally, Craig, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out 3 games for you. Now, these are all 3, they are matchups of unbeatens, because there's 8 of those this week. And I think they are maybe not the headliners. So, I'm not going to put Denton, Guyer, and Carroll in this one. I've got 3 relatively, there's only 44 games, 3 relatively under-the-radar matchups of unbeatens, and you can teleport to one of them. Do you go 7:30 p.m. Friday night at the Rock Pile in San Antonio as Bernie takes on Corpus Christi Calallen? Do you go 7 o'clock Friday night to Burleson Stadium to watch Toller and Crawford? Or do you go 6 o'clock Saturday to Early, Texas to watch the Abbott Panthers and the Erie County Hornets in a state semifinal? Which of those 3 are you teleporting to?
Well, you know what you've done there? You've listed 3 games where the under-the-radar team is in a real prove-it-to-me once-and-for-all mode to get to the Final Four. Going in reverse order of what you're talking about, Erie County, I don't think folks expect that now. You really get a chance to prove yourself once and for all. Do you belong as you take on the number 1 team in the state in Abbott? So there's one. The second one, what was the second one you mentioned?
Toller and Crawford.
Yes, Toller and Crawford. Again, a prove-it game for Toller. What is it? What do you guys say? What's your
Snake Farm.
Snake Farm, yeah. and against a Crawford team that we've been saying all year long is good enough to at least play for and play in the 2AD1 championship, if not win the thing. Some folks in Hawley may have something to say about that, or Cisco, and then certainly on the southern end of the bracket with Shiner or Furio. But Toller, that's a real prove-it-to-me type of game. And then the last one you mentioned at the Rock Pile is, I think, the once and for all for Bernie, because Calallen has been the standard bearer for decades, let alone just years. I've believed in this Bernie team all season long. Been talking about them on the show, and this is the real prove it to me moment for the Greyhounds if they get it done. So I like all 3 of those prove it to me situations to see if the team can advance. And I think of the 3, if I were to pick one game to attend, it would probably be the one at the Rock Pile. It would be Bernie Calallen, to see if Bernie truly can get over that big maroon hump that comes up from the Bay.
He's Craig Way. He's Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. Listen to him on the Horn in Austin every weekday, along with Jeff Howe and Light the Tower. Listen to him and hear him on High School Scoreboard Live Saturday night on Bally Sports Southwest. Craig, appreciate your time. Quick, Lano or Edna?
I was going to ask you if you were in that pickle caravan headed down to San Marcos. If you're going to head down there. Great matchup. Slight edge to the Jackets.
Sting 'em.
Totally agree. He's Craig Way. Appreciate you, bud. We'll talk to you later this week.
All right. You bet.
Craig Way, the Texas High School Hall of Famer, joins us every Tuesday here on Texas Football Today. I suppose we will have him. We could probably have him. Well, I don't know. Are we going to do a show? Let's just produce on the fly 2 weeks ahead. Are we going to do a show on the Tuesday before state? No. We usually got to pack stuff up.
Yeah, we're usually packing
Yeah.
up and delivering because we've got the issue is going way in the weeds is we're only allowed to get into the stadium at a certain
Yeah.
time, and most of the time it's too early for us to do a show.
Yeah.
Monday's usually our big state
Preview.
preview show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Craig was available on Monday.
Maybe we will. Who knows? Anyway, we appreciate Craig Wayne hopping on with us.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.